So, welcome to class 3 of Into the Body. All of these, the 4 classes, this whole series is all about using the foundations of mindfulness to get out of our busy minds and feeling more empowered, more confident, more present, more connected to our physical bodies. And what we discovered in the past 2 classes is that our minds, they love to time travel and zip ahead to the future, planning and trying to predict what's going to happen or replaying the past. And we're kind of going back and forth in those 2 places. And it's a little more rare for the mind to be in the present moment. However, our bodies are always experiencing and sensing and living and breathing and being in the present moment. So by bringing our attention into the body, we get to cultivate more of that presence and aliveness that we often seek, okay? And yeah, so in the first class, we explored the GROW practice, which was all about grounding. So GROW, grounding, relaxing, opening up to the present with wonder, with curiosity. And that was sort of our first step, is how can we open up to this moment with that non-judgmental curiosity, such a foundation of mindfulness. But then we took it a little further and we focused our attention in the second class on the breath. And we were exploring, how can we just let the breath come in and out naturally with acceptance? And today, in this third class, we're going to focus more on doing a body scan and sort of being extra curious about what our body's trying to tell us. So up-leveling the acceptance, up-leveling the interest, and trying to really deepen our connection to our bodies. Instead of just looking at it and observing it, how can we deepen our connection to the physical body? Okay. And like the other 2 classes, in case you weren't here, we have a little housekeeping thing where if something excites us in the chat, we pop a plus. If you're over there nodding, saying, yes, that's making sense for me, or if you have a question, feel free to type in the chat. If you have any feedback, I want the chat to be as active as possible so we can really feel the sense of community, because we are in community right now, although we're in our own spaces and places. And I just want to acknowledge how hard this week has been with everything going on in the world and in Israel, and how just horrendous everything on the news is right now. And this is where we get to really put this stuff into practice. It's very, very easy to get kind of sucked into the news, into the social media, into the phones, which we should certainly be staying informed and in the know, but we also don't want to sacrifice our own sense of inner peace and inner stability. Because when we can stabilize ourselves internally with all of this stuff that we're talking about today, and when we can cultivate a sense of inner peace, we can then meet our families and our friends and our communities with a sense of presence and stability and clarity. We can communicate. It's much more supportive of like a proactive, aligned action state of being, much more productive. So if you're feeling a bit drained this week, you're not alone. This is a wonderful reminder that we can take time and space to center ourselves, to deepen our own self-understanding, deepen our own sense of inner peace, so that we can work to spread that on a global level, to serve our own families and our own communities. So I don't want to ignore that that's how it's going on, and really the work that we'll do here is can be incredibly beneficial. Okay, so I want to talk about the benefits of why would we rest the attention on the body. What's so special about that? And first thing I want to talk about is just an opportunity to refine our attention and practice refocusing. So each time you do a mindfulness meditation, or each time you're washing the dishes and you bring a bit more attention to how you're washing the dishes or how you're standing, or just bringing more mindfulness to the physical body, each time that you do that, it's like strengthening a muscle of the gym. You get better and better and better at noticing, what's my body trying to tell me? How do I feel right now? So we get to catch ourselves traveling from the past into the future. We get to catch ourselves and bring our attention back into the present. So the more that we practice that in a more formal setting in our meditation, the more you notice that in your day-to-day life, is that sense of, oh God, my mind just went to another place. You know that feeling. But how does my breath feel in my chest? Oh, okay. How do my feet feel on the earth? Bring you right back into the present. So that's sort of our first benefit. The next thing that happens is, remember last week, in the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about shifting out of the striving mode and being cool with the being mode. So we don't always have to be pushing and doing and going and forcing. We could sometimes sit and just be. In that same line, bringing the attention to the body shifts us from the thinking mind into the being. So from thinking to feeling. Thinking to feeling. There's a difference. And when we're purely feeling, we're not thinking so much. When we're just feeling into the body, our minds aren't going to be racing to the past or to the future. It's something that only happens in the present moment. Okay, so it all comes back to that sense of presence. Another thing that happens when we bring our attention to the body, and I mean that in the most simplest of ways, when we're just noticing what's going on in the body, sometimes certain parts of the body are sort of numb, or they're harder to connect with, whether it's from injury, whether it's from trauma, whether it's just from life experiences, from not having maybe a movement background. Like sometimes there's just parts of the body that feel a little less connected and a little less obvious in your mind. So when you bring your attention and rest your attention, let's say it's your right shoulder that feels a little bit disconnected, and you rest your attention in the right shoulder and you rest it there regularly, a few times a week, and play with bringing your attention there, the sensations that were really weak and subtle become larger, and you get to build more of a connection to the physical body. You get to build, which is related to intimacy. You build a more intimate relationship with yourself. And in that connection and deeper understanding, you get to really see the stories that you've created in your mind. So you might have a physical, let's just take an injury or an illness or a diagnosis of sorts. It's very easy to let it be all-encompassing, almost like you feel like you are it's part of who you are. Where being able to look at this part of the body, this injury, this illness, maybe it's a chronic illness, you get to sort of separate from it and rewire the narrative of, I have that illness, but that is not me. I can observe it. You get to create space. Sensations are seen as sensations, not as who you are. And that's a really important thing, is I am not my injury. I am not my illness. I am not my XYZ, whatever it is that might be causing you some troubles. You have that, and therefore you can learn to work with it, and create a little bit of space and open up to the change, the subtle changes and shifts that might be happening. So personally, I have this, not to divulge too much personal information, but I do have an autoimmune disease where it really affects my esophagus, and it creates a lot of pain. And for years, I really identified with it, and it took up a lot of my brain space. And when I learned to work with this as something that I can manage and look at and have acceptance for and separate from, rather than why me and to let it define me, it's completely transformed the healing process and the way that I manage it. So maybe there's something in your life you can relate to, and creating a little bit of space through mindfulness might help. Another thing that can happen when we bring our attention to the body in this mindful way, so this non-judgmental, open attention, is we get the opportunity to fully accept our bodies. And think about that, fully head to toe accept. And like I said, there might be past experiences that have caused shame or blame or pain in the body. And by bringing the attention to the body in this mindful way, we get to, yes, become more intimate and connected, but we get to accept our physical body, taking us out of fighting mode. How many of us have fought with our bodies? I want it to look a certain way, and sort of there's this who you are now and what you want to look like, and there's this space and how painful it is to fight, and how beautiful would it be to just start from a place of acceptance. Not saying we don't have to have goals, but starting from a place of acceptance rather than fighting is going to completely transform that journey of A to B. Just 3 more points and then we'll practice, and I have a really nice special practice for you today. So something else, bringing our attention to the body with that open, curious, accepting awareness, which we're going to practice in a few minutes, I promise. You get to uncover the ways in which your body might be storing emotion, or might be storing emotional patterns, maybe trauma, maybe past experiences. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and our experiences live in our tissues. And when we can feel into them and breathe into them, we actually can empower ourselves to release these stuck emotions and explore other ways to release the stuck, held experiences. So it just, in a simple way, increases the awareness, increases the acceptance, increases the connection, which will make you feel more and more and more embodied and alive and confident, which is, I'm sure, part of the reason why some of us are here. Another thing that happens is when we watch the body, when we actually pause and bring our attention to the body, like what we're going to do in a moment, and listen to the body, your body's constantly giving you signals. How hungry am I? How tired am I? What are my energy levels? What am I feeling? What am I needing? And when we're rushing through our day, and when we're working and we're expected to do X, Y, and Z, we can kind of turn off that sense of listening, and we don't necessarily give our body what it's craving and what it needs. So we get to tend to the body. It's like, I don't have children, but I imagine if you really try to listen to what your child wants, even though they're crying and maybe they're not even at the age of speaking, but you take a moment to openly listen, maybe you're going to get a little further than just, here, try this, eat this, go do that, do that. So it's just like a greater, deeper listening, a greater, deeper relationship. And then lastly, the more that we practice this mindfulness of the body, bringing the attention to the body in that mindful way, the more that you come to the practice, I promise you, the more you will naturally, organically inhabit your body. Our bodies and minds are undeniably connected. We know that. And so the more that you're resting your attention in the body, the more you will walk around feeling confident and relaxed and grounded and safe and steady in your body, the more energy you're going to have. And it completely transforms the way you digest, the way that you sleep, the way that you think, the way that you operate in the world. Many of us are very up in our heads, and it can do a lot of good if we just take a couple minutes a day to intentionally rest our attention into the body. It's simple. I know it's not easy, and we have to prioritize it. If you don't prioritize it, it's not going to fit into your calendar. But life is so busy. Life is, I'll skip days because life is so busy. I know it. But if you make it a priority, then you're much more likely to show up, right? So we're going to practice. And you can do this lying down, seated, reclined. I'm going to encourage you to close down your eyes. So getting comfy, closing down the eyes. And then right at the start of the practice, feel where your body is making contact with the support beneath you. And as you take a deeper inhale and a fuller exhale, see if that support could rise up to support you even more, or you could give into that support even more. And just notice how you're feeling right now. Meeting that with a mindful attention, which we know is one of acceptance and patience and curiosity. Breaking in the attitude of a beginner's mind. And in today's body scan that I'll guide you through, I want you to explore as we go through each part of the body. There's absolutely nothing that you need to do. I want you to explore a total, complete acceptance of what you find as we travel through each part of the body, and an up-leveled sense of curiosity. What do you notice that's new? It's as if you've never brought your attention to this part of the body before. What can you find? So we're going to start with the space that's right in between your eyebrows. And if you catch yourself thinking about something, just try to encourage yourself to feel and sense into the space right in between your eyebrows. And then notice your jaw. Nothing to do here, just notice, is my jaw holding? Is it tense? Or, ooh, my jaw feels pretty relaxed today. How does the jaw feel? Remember, there's nothing to fix or change right now, just noticing and sitting with what arises. Total acceptance. Let's travel down into the shoulders. So just rest your attention in the shoulders. The shoulders include the tops of the shoulders, the backs of the shoulders, the fronts of the shoulders. Does one shoulder feel kind of more obvious in your mind? Maybe one shoulder feels higher than the other or more relaxed than the other. Just let it be. And let's travel to the hands. Imagine you've never felt your own hands before. What do you feel? What do you sense as you bring your attention to the hands? Lovely. Now, the chest, the region of the heart. Bring your attention there and listen. What's going on in the region of the heart? Maybe you sense your breath there. Okay, down into the belly. Maybe you sense the breath at the belly, moving the belly. And travel down into the feet. And just rest your attention in the feet right now. How do the feet feel? Total acceptance. Nothing to change, nothing to fix. Now zooming out and sense your whole entire body. Can you feel your whole entire body? Letting it just be, it's perfect just as it is. Notice your whole body breathing. Take a deeper inhale, full breath in. You might open the mouth and let the breath out. If you decided to do this practice lying down, just ease your way back into a seated position. And if you are seated, and let's all kind of flutter open our eyes. And with the eyes open, why don't you not look at the screen right now? You can look at maybe a plant in your room or a picture or the wall, wherever you are. Look at something. And I want you to really feel the soles of your feet or your hips on the earth, whatever is more obvious to you, your connection to the earth, physical pressure. So I'm going to feel my hips in the chair. And simultaneous to that, you can take in the environment that's around you. And as you feel your hips on the chair or your feet on the ground, try to look around the space and see if you can sense both at the same time. And then we'll come back, bringing your eyes back to the screen and kind of taking in the video, taking in my voice, but still feeling your feet and your hips, whatever it is that's grounding you. Feel that physical point of pressure and support while also taking in these words. And what we call this practice is 50-50 attention. So it's kind of roughly splitting your attention in two. One is in your body and specifically where your body is being supported. And the other is what's going on externally. And so this is a wonderful practice to try. No one needs to know, but when you're in conversation with someone, see if you could feel your feet on the earth, your hips in the chair, and really take in what they're saying. And I bet you're going to hear what they say in such a really clear way. And it sort of grounds your energy. So if you don't like public speaking or you don't like speaking up at work or Or, even in this moment right now, I'm constantly feeling the support beneath me while talking to you. And so it's a wonderful way to calm the nervous system and to get clear and to feel really embodied as you move through the world. So it's not all or nothing. It's not close your eyes, feel the body, and then go out in the world. There is a way to bridge the gap. And this is my favorite way to do that. It's feeling the support of the earth as you externalize. So I don't know if that makes sense, and if that helps. I think it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that and to feel that and remember it. So if you're kind of like, what? Then that's okay. There's many more opportunities to practice. And we have a couple of minutes left. So I want to open it up to you for questions, for comments. Feel free to type in the chat. And while I'm here on my computer, I'm going to extend this offer for all of you attendees, that if you claim the offer today, you can get a free month on our Substack. So we have a free Substack, which you could just always be a part of, or we have a paid Substack. I think it's $5 a month, and you get more exclusive content. You get access to my private chat. You get access to our monthly gathering. So we're certainly still building up the Substack community, but if you want to try, here's your free 30 days, and I'd love to see you on there. Hopefully you can see that offer. Otherwise, you can just simply be a free subscriber, which is great too. There's a lot there. Yeah. So any questions at all? I think I sent a few of you the a panelist link. So you became a panelist with me. Hey, you live and you learn. No questions. Okay. Well, it's that time, so I'll let you go. But thank you for joining. There's the replay will be up in a couple days, and then we have our final fourth Wednesday together next Wednesday at the same time. So if you can't make it, you can get the recording. Otherwise, I hope to see you there. And we do have a question from Alyssa. How often do you find yourself practicing the 50-50 on a daily basis? I find myself utilizing it a lot because I'm teaching a lot, yoga and meditation, and it's something that I'll always do when I'm teaching. I will use it as a tool if I'm getting overwhelmed in conversation with someone, or if I just feel like the boundary isn't clear. If someone's kind of crossing maybe a boundary with me, I'll stand my ground by just feeling that 50-50 attention, and it helps me not get wrapped into their business, if you know what I mean. So it's sort of situational, like when I feel like I could really use it. And it's usually when I'm speaking or presenting or teaching. It's usually when I'm in conversation with someone and I realize my brain is not focusing on what they're saying, or I'm getting a little maybe taken away by their emotions. So it's sort of more of a tool. And I try to practice it in meditation, like, okay, I'm going to listen to the sounds, and I'm also going to feel that support. And maybe that's my practice for 10 minutes. But I use it a couple of times a day, and some days I just don't think about it. So I hope that helps. Terry, what technique or meditation do you suggest to improve focus? Yeah, so to improve focus, I would just choose an anchor point, which is maybe the breath is a good one for you, or a mantra, and set the timer for 5 minutes, and just try to keep your attention on the way that you're breathing. And you don't have to breathe in a certain type of way. Just explore. My nose kind of tickles when I inhale, and the breath feels kind of warm as I exhale. And what else do I notice about the breath? And try to keep your attention on the breath. And then your mind's going to go, what am I eating for dinner? Oh, I forgot to send that email. Come back to the breath. And then you do that for 5 minutes. And like I said, it's like practice, it's like going to the gym and strengthening a muscle where you will learn to come back to the breath faster and faster and faster. You'll learn to come back to focus in your regular life. more and more and more from this technique. So it's really, I would choose the breath because it's always there for you, and focus on it. And each time you get distracted, focus on it again and again and again. And if you don't like focusing on the breath because it feels maybe a bit short or constricted, or you don't like it, you can choose a mantra. That I love just saying, let go, let go, let go. And you just come back to your mantra. Or maybe it's a phrase. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you. Thank you all for joining. Have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday, and I hope I can see you next Wednesday, okay? Bye, everyone.